Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk with April Taylor. Thank you for joining. Feel free to drop a like. Feel free to drop a comment. Say, hey, let me know you're here. I'm just looking at some comments here. I see I have one audience member. Thank you for joining. Come on in. Come on in. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for Sports Talk with April Taylor. We're here for another week. We had another week of awesome sports, awesome NBA basketball, awesome playoff basketball. Obviously, we'll talk a little the second round of the playoffs basketball. I'll give you my thoughts, my comments, my insight, my predictions. We'll talk a little Chi-Town sports. I'm a Chi-Town native, so we always have to give you a little bit of what's going on in Chicago, a little bit with the Bulls, the Bears, obviously Wnba starting. And then we'll just end up with, I'll kind of tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. My good, my bad, and my ugly. What I thought I saw in the world of sports this week. So again, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on in. Welcome. And we're just going to get right going. So again, like I said, we had an awesome week of NBA basketball this past week. If you joined me last Friday, I gave some of my predictions of what I thought would happen, who I thought I saw winning in each round of the playoffs. So we're just going to get started. We're going to start with obviously what is probably one of the most interesting rounds this series, and that would be none other than the Golden State Warriors and Memphis Grizzlies. Clearly, we're going to start with Dillon Brooks and his suspension. Now, this is something that I really didn't see coming, and in my opinion, I really don't agree with. I think, obviously, the foul, we saw what happened with Gary Payton Jr. We feel bad for him. It's unfortunate that he had to go down. Clearly, he has a fractured elbow, so he's going to be out for some weeks, and so we don't like that happening. But it happened early on in the game, I think within the first 3 minutes of the game, and we saw the ejection there. The ejection, if you saw my video last week, you would actually saw that I agreed with the ejection. I don't think it was necessarily reputational like we saw with Draymond Green. Obviously, we know what happened with him. We know his reputation. I think that had a lot to do with him in game one while he was ejected. Really didn't agree with that ejection, but I kind of felt that what was going on there. Here, I actually agree with the ejection. I thought it was more of a letter of the law type of play. You read the rule books. You can't, obviously, Gary Payton Jr. is a defensive player. He's in the air. If I'm Dillon Brooks, you got to be smarter. You got to be more aware of what's going on in the game. You can't wind up like that. You can't hit him. So I thought that calls for the ejection. But now we get the news today that he's going to be suspended for game 3. I don't think this calls for a suspension. I'm sorry. If really he served the suspension by missing game 2. I mean, we were 3 minutes into the game and he was gone. And now we're going to suspend him. I think this has more to do with the fallback, the backlash, the comments, the Steve Kerr, the media people. Obviously, we see, what has happened again. Gary Payton Jr. is out. He's going to miss some weeks. That's unfortunate. And I think all of that has played into him being suspended for the next game. So again, I really don't agree with the suspension there, but it is what it is. And so what do we see for this round? So obviously, if you were with me last week, we saw that I picked the Golden State Warriors to pull this round out. I'm still going with Golden State. Let me know in the comments. Are you still feeling Golden State? Do you still think they were going to win? Obviously, we saw Memphis come up huge, get a big win in game 2. So let me know, what do you think? You still feeling Golden State? I'm personally still feeling Golden State, still thinking that they're going to pull it through. But what am I seeing in this series? So obviously, we're going to give a hand clap. I like to give hand claps in a lot of my broadcasts here, but a hand clap to Ja Morant. This man scored 47 points in game 2. All-time great performance. He's starting to come. Memphis in 6. I see you, Memphis in 6. I'm still feeling Golden State. I still think they have the experience. I still think they have the veteran presence there. They've been there, done that. So, but again, like I was saying, Ja Morant, he's actually averaging 40 points right now through 2 games in the series. We saw the stat a few days ago. He just became one of only 3 players in NBA history to have multiple 45 35-point games before the age of 23. He joins none other than LeBron James and Kobe Bryant with that stat. So he's obviously playing well. He's really letting us know who he is and what he's made of. But if I'm Memphis, you're going to need some production from some other individuals. You're going to need some production from Desmond Bane, who played well in the last series. I mean, Desmond Bane averaged 18 points in the regular season. He put up 9 points in game 1. He put up 5 points in game 2. So you're going to need more. Obviously, we see the Dillon Brooks suspension, so that'll affect them in game 3. The series is tied right now 1-1. So that'll be affecting game 3. But game 4, as this series goes on, we're going to need production from role players if Memphis is going to have any shot. Ja can keep doing what Ja's going to do, but it's not going to be enough. Now, why was it enough in game 2? You may be asking. Well, let's look at why. Golden State Warriors, they didn't perform nowhere near the level that we're used to seeing them perform. Golden State Warriors, they shot a record for their team. What did they shoot here from the 3-point line? Oh, yeah. So in game 2, they shot 7 of 38, a mere 18% from 3. That was horrible shooting by the Golden State Warriors. So, yes, Memphis did get this win in game 2. It was a great performance by Ja, but this also was not the Golden State Warriors team that we're used to seeing, okay? Golden State Warriors does not shoot this bad. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, we don't expect them to continue to shoot this poorly going forward. Again, as a team, they made 7 3-pointers out of 38 attempts. How bad is that? 18%. So not well at all. Obviously, game 1, they shot much better from the field, much better from the 3. Not great, but definitely better than that. And they took the win in game 1. But again, game 2, so I think you had obviously all-time performance from Ja, and that contributed to the win. But also Memphis won this game because Golden State was just not playing well, was not being effective. Again, very poor from the field. And now they're obviously looking at a loss in Gary Payton Jr. He's going to be out for some weeks, so he won't return in this series. So that's going to hurt Golden State. So do I think Memphis has a shot? Yes. Do I think they'll pull it out? No. Again, I just think the experience, obviously Golden State has won 3 championships. They've been here, done that. You got Steve Kerr. They're saying they're probably going to be bringing Andre Iguodala back for game 3. So we'll see what he's able to do on Ja. I mean, old Andre Iguodala could have been effective here, but I'm not sure how effective he's going to be able to be against Ja Morant. I just think Ja is too fast, too quick. I don't see Iguodala being able to keep up with that level of speed and agility from Ja. I mean, he's a veteran, so he may have some things up his sleeve, but I don't think he's going to be necessarily able to keep up with Ja. But we'll see. Again, I still think Golden State Warriors will pull it out, but they're going to have to shoot much better from the field, definitely. And what else are we looking here? Again, still going with Golden State. We'll see where we're going. So that kind of wraps up that series with me. But again, great performance by Ja. We're seeing a game changer in the league right now. So way to go. So we're going to keep moving right along, NBA playoff basketball. And the next round to me that is next most interesting, most engaging is Boston and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, going into this series, I actually picked Boston here. I'm still staying with that pick right now. I will say after game 1, I was a little scared of that pick. The series is tied 1-1 right now. And actually, I'm sorry. Let me see here. Here we go. Sorry, I'm reading the comments here. Yes, I see that. I understand. Yeah, Iggy is old, but we're gonna see. So moving on again, Boston and Milwaukee. Again, my pick there went with Boston. Was a little iffy after game 1, but they came back roaring with game 2, which I was very scared and actually didn't see this coming in game 2 because we found out right before the game that Marcus Smart was not playing. And so I'm thinking after the loss in game 1, you come back game 2, you're already down, and now you're losing one of your starters, the defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart. I thought this was going to have a greater impact. But I would say that I am pleasantly surprised by what I was seeing from the Boston Celtics. Obviously, Jaylen Brown coming out gave us a 30-point performance, and as an overall team, shot very well from the field. And this is really why they won this game. If you look at what Milwaukee is doing to Boston here, they're actually daring them to shoot in this round. And so game one, when Boston lost, they really didn't shoot well at all. I think as a team, you didn't get great shooting at all. They were 33% from the field, 36% from the three-point line. They shot 53 pointers in game one. That was an alarming rate. If you're shooting that many threes, you're going to have to make a little more than 18. And that's what Boston did in game one. And I think is what ultimately led to them losing. Game two, now Boston shot much better from the field. They still took a lot of three-pointers. They took 43 three-pointers. So you took 50 in game one. You took 43 in game two. So they're shooting threes at a pretty high clip here, but they made them in game two. Again, Jaylen Brown, great performance. Obviously, Tatum gives you a great performance, and people were just making shots all over the place, and it resulted in the win. And they're still playing good lockdown defense, and that's why I think they'll still get the win here. Again, with the loss of Middleton for Milwaukee, I think this is hurting them. And with the type of defense that Boston is playing right now against Milwaukee, I think you're feeling that loss, that hurt of Middleton. You really didn't feel it in game one, but you definitely felt it in game two, because the type of defense, they're actually playing a little bit of some of the same thing. While you have Milwaukee daring Boston to shoot, Boston is actually in turn daring Milwaukee to shoot, daring Giannis to shoot. And if anything, you know anything about basketball, when it comes to a player like Giannis, who's big, who's dominant, he can get to the lane against anybody. You want to clog up the lane. You want to make him shoot jumpers. You want to make him shoot threes. You want to put him on the line, because this is not necessarily his strength. And that's what Boston is doing here. I mean, Giannis is averaging 26 points in the series right now, but he's not shooting effectively at all. He's shooting 38% from the field. He's 55% from the free throw line, and he's 1 of 6 from 3. And that's through 2 games. So again, he's averaging 26 points because he's Giannis. So he's going to be Giannis. But he's not shooting very effectively, and I think that has all to do with the defense that Boston is playing against Giannis. And I think if they keep playing this type of defense, keep forcing him to be uncomfortable, take shots he's not comfortable taking, clogging up the lane, I think they'll still get the win, because that loss of Middleton is really going to hurt. But good basketball, good playoff basketball. Obviously, again, these 2 rounds, very exciting, tied 1-1 right now, and we're just waiting to see them go. We're waiting to see what's going to happen. So let's keep moving right along. So again, those 2 series obviously are grabbing all of our attention right now. But we still have some other basketball being played. And they actually play tonight, and that's Miami and Philly. Now, this is a pick. Obviously, if you were with me last week, I picked Philly going into the series. This was clearly before the Joel Embiid news broke. This was before he had the orbital fracture, and this was before we knew he was going to miss the game. So I'm reserving my right here to kind of flip on Miami a little bit, because, again, I picked Philly with Joel Embiid. As I said, he's my MVP right now. He's my vote for MVP if I had a vote. And I just think he's that dynamic of a player that he would change the trajectory of this series. But without him, Philly is just, I don't think they have a shot. Again, picked Philly, but that was when Joel Embiid was there. Clearly, Joel Embiid is not there. And it's having an effect on the series. I think Miami obviously is playing dominant basketball right now. You just got too many pieces, too much coming from. You got Jimmy Butler, obviously. You got Tyler Hero. You got Bam. You got Victor Oladipo. We haven't even seen Kyle Lowry yet in this series, and they're already up 2-0 against Philly. We're hearing that Embiid may play. We don't know. He was upgraded from, I think, out to doubtful. It's still not looking good that he'll actually play. If he doesn't play, I think Miami will get the win again. This might be a sweep. If Joel Embiid does not come back to this round, Miami might actually sweep Philly here. And because you're just not getting enough production from your second superstar, or who are supposed to be your second superstar. And we all know who I'm talking about there, and that's James Harden. I mean, come on, James Harden. You got to do better than that. We're looking at a player who wants to average 30 34, 35 points a game, all-time great transcendent offensive player. And we're just not seeing that Harden. I mean, he's averaging 18 points through 2 games thus far, but he's shooting very poorly. He's shooting 24% from the field right now. No, he's shooting 24% from three, which is not good. He is shooting 39% from the field. And it's just not the Harden that you would need if you're going to have any kind of try. At least if Philly was going to try to hold on to try to see if Joel Embiid would come back, you're going to need more production from Harden. And at this point in his career, now stay on your look. I reserve the right when you have an injury as catastrophic as we see with the loss of Embiid. I reserve the right to kind of flip flop there. But look, you're gonna need better performance from James Harden. I mean, at this point, who is James Harden in his career? Let me know in your comments. What do you think? I mean, do you have any more hope, any more confidence, any more faith in James Harden? Because at this point, I don't. He's just not the player he used to be. He's not productive as he used to be. He's not efficient as he used to be. Again, 24% from the three, 39% from the field. We need the old James Harden if you were going to have any shot. And James is just not James. Maybe it's old age. Maybe he's finally just reached this point in his career. Maybe it's the hamstring injury he's just never been able to recover from. But it's just not the James that we're looking to, which is unfortunate from him. I mean, we saw this man in Houston, whine, complain, want to get out of Houston. You come over to the Nets. You get there. We think you're happy. You're with your brothers, KD and Kyrie. Then all of a sudden you want to leave the Nets. Now you're over at Philly, and we're looking for you to show us why you did all this crying trying to get to other teams. And you're just not doing it, James. So again, with the way he's performing, and let's all out to Maxey. He's doing all he can. He put in 34 points last game, but it's just not enough. He gave you 34. Tobias gave you 21. And Harden gave you 20 in that game, but it's just not enough. Miami is too much of an all-around great team. You get too many 5, 6 people give you double-digit points. They play great defense. And again, I'm flipping there, but I'm flipping because of the Embiid injury. And I just think Miami will pull it out. And really, they're going to pull it out in 4 or 5 if Embiid doesn't even come back. If he doesn't come back, they may pull it out in 4. Because if he comes back, we don't know what kind of Embiid he is. Is he 100%? Is he 60? Is he 70%? Can he see? We had read a report the other day that he was just now being able to look at his phone. So, heartbreaking there, heartbreaking injury. I'm a big Embiid fan, so I obviously hate to see that happen. Hate to see that injury for him. But I just think Miami will pull that one out. And then last but not least, we have Phoenix and Dallas. And look, Luka is doing all that he can. He's another one that's averaging 40 points. Through 2 games in this series, Luka's averaging 40 points. He's doing all what you would expect Luka to do, but it's just not enough. Again, like we talked about Miami being an all-around great team, you kind of have this with Phoenix as well. You get DeAndre Ayton, you get CP3. By the way, happy birthday, CP3. I believe he turns 37 today. He's not looking 37 in some of these games right now, but clearly you got Devin Booker, who's an MVP candidate. And they just play all around great basketball, and it's just too strong, too much offensive power coming from different ways. You got Crowder, you got different ones just pouring in buckets, and Dallas just can't contend with that. Again, Luka can give you 50, which he's almost doing, but it's just not going to be enough. Let me know what you think. What do you think right now about some of these rounds, about some of these series? You probably agree with the Miami, you probably agree with the Dallas, but let me know who you're feeling in these rounds. I see you with the comments. Thank you for the comments. But again, Phoenix is just too strong of a team. Luka, way to go. Good effort. Hand clap. But just not going to pull it out. Definitely not going to pull it out. So again, those are kind of my takes. Those are my comments, my commentary from what I'm seeing from the first round. Again, Golden State, Memphis. I see Golden State pulling it through. Memphis has a shot. I'll give them a shot, but you're going to need more from more people if you're going to win. Golden State, you better shoot better or you will be going home. Boston, Milwaukee. I'm sticking with Boston here. You're going to have to continue to shoot well from three, though. Again, they're living and dying by the three right now because that's what Milwaukee is forcing them to do. Again, they shot 53s in game one and 49 threes in game two. So they made them in game two, they won. They didn't make them in game one, they lost. So come on, Boston, hang on strong. Keep playing that defense. Keep Giannis out of the lane, and I'm sticking with them. And then again, Miami, Philly. I'm flip-flopping to Miami there with the Wnba injury. And that's just kind of what I see. I don't even know if he gets back, if he'll be effective. And then lastly, we just see Phoenix pulling it on out against Dallas. So let me know if you agree in the comments. Again, continue to, like the video, share the video, give me comments, feedback. I'm loving it. Thank you. Thank you so much for everybody. You're engaging. I'm loving to see this crowd, this audience. Way to go. And before we wrap up, we obviously promised a little Chi-Town sports. I'm a Chicago native, so I always have to get a little bit of what's going on in Chicago here. So again, obviously the Bulls right now, the biggest thing we have is kind of the off season. What are we doing? Free agency. Zach LaVine is up for a contract year. Do you think he deserves to get paid? At this point, I would say yes. I mean, Zach has he's been productive here. Obviously, injuries derailed him a little bit, but what do you think? I think we should give Zach the contract, but you're going to need help. As presently constructed, I don't see this Bulls team being able to win a championship. I see them being able to play better when all your pieces come back and you're healthy. So when you have Lonzo Ball, when you have Caruso, DeRozan, and Zach, Vooch, if we get Orlando Vooch, maybe. But yeah, you're going to need some more pieces. So I'm looking to see some activity in free agency. Hopefully they can pull some strings, do some things. But we're going to need to see something over this offseason. Again, as presently constructed, you won't win a championship. You may do better in the playoffs, but you're going to need to add some pieces. And so that's really all I have on the Chicago Bulls right now. Don't really have much else there. So we'll just keep moving on. Obviously, Chicago Bears, we're not playing NFL football right now, but we did see the draft last week. And again, if you were with me last week, we were heading into the second round of the draft. I kind of gave my thoughts, my opinions on what I thought the Bears needed. Now we're coming back. We're a week later. The draft has taken place. It's finished. How do I think the Bears did? Well, if I had to give them a letter grade, I would probably say a B minus, C plus. If you kind of let me give them a little in-between grade. The B minus is because you made some good picks. Obviously, we addressed the defense. You addressed the secondary. You got some help. These people we picked up, obviously, they're looking to be starters coming out. So you always want to shore up your defense. Obviously, Chicago, we're known as a defensive team. But I just think you really needed to get a little bit more help offensively at the wide receiver position. Obviously, we see this guy Jones from Tennessee. We picked him up in the third round, so we'll see. Supposedly he's very fast, has a very fast 40, so we'll see. But I just think you needed to give Justin Fields a little bit more help, because who was he throwing to? I mean, let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Do you think this was a good draft? Are you feeling the Bears right now? What do you think? Again, I'm giving them B minus, C plus. I think you just needed to do more. The B minus, the C, I didn't give you an F, you didn't fail, because you did address all of your areas. So you addressed defense, you addressed offense, you did pick up some offensive line, you did get the one wide receiver. So you kind of addressed all of your areas: defense, offensive line, wide receiver. You did maybe at least addressed each area. But again, I'm not necessarily too happy because I don't know who Justin is throwing the ball to, and we want to keep him protected. So yeah, that's just kind of my quick retake on the Bears and how they did. We had some other stuff in the NFL draft that's exciting, so we'll see. Pittsburgh making some moves at quarterback position. Obviously, we got a ton of quarterbacks and a ton of new spots. You got Matt Ryan over with the Colts. You get obviously from Seattle, Russell Wilson, he's obviously in Denver. So we're looking at some new pieces. The NFL will look a little different. So I'm excited when NFL football comes. So continue to follow me, continue to follow my page. I'll be giving some good NFL commentary, some predictions of fantasy football. I'll be giving you some waiver wire advice. All of that. Just continue to stick with me, follow me, share my page. Thank you so much. And last but not least, the WNBA. They start today. And Chicago Sky, we're going to give another hand to our own team. The Chicago Sky, they are the defending WNBA champions. So way to go, Chicago. We'll have our banner raising ceremony and ring ceremony on May 24th. Again, they open tonight. So, drop by, see them, tune in, watch them. You got Candace Parker returning. Obviously, she came home, won a ring for her hometown team. So we're loving that. And we're ready to see them run it back, right? Absolutely. We're ready to see. So yeah, we're rooting for the Chicago Sky here to run it back. We're loving Candace Parker being home. And this year, actually, the WNBA All-Star Weekend is actually going to be in Chicago this year. So it's the first time in Chicago. The defending champions will be hosting WNBA All-Star Weekend. I believe it's in July 9th and 10th. So yeah, look it up, support our home team. But way to go, Chicago. I'm looking forward to a great season. Hopefully we can run it back. Hopefully everyone stays healthy. Candace Parker and great way to go. Again, hand clap for the Chicago Sky. Before I leave you today, this is something I'm going to try to incorporate every week. It's my good, it's my bad, and it's my ugly. So yeah, absolutely. I'm just talking about, what I saw in sports this week. What did I see in sports? My good. We will have to give a good performance, overall good, to one Ja Morant. This man scored 47 points in game 2. He's averaging 40 points throughout this series. And again, I mentioned it before, became one of only 3 NBA players in history to have multiple 40-point games before the age of 23. He joins Kobe, he joins LeBron. That is my good for the week. Way to go, Ja. What is my bad for the week? We're staying in this game. Again, I told you, this series is heating up. You got ejections game 1. Obviously, I'm talking about Golden State Memphis series. My bad is going to be in this series. But again, it's heating up. So if you're not tuning in, tune in. We're 1-1. You got ejections game 1, ejections game 2. You got Draymond. You know what? Before I give my bad, and actually, the bad, Draymond, he'll be my ugly, but the bad is we're just going to go ahead with the elbow injury to Gary Payton Jr. Now, obviously, we don't want to see players get injured. He was playing well in this series. He had actually got inserted into the starting lineup. So we just don't like to see a player go down. So that's my bad. My heart goes out to him. He's playing great. Hopefully, he has a speedy recovery. And hey, if Golden State keeps moving on, which we anticipate they'll do, maybe we'll see him again. So that's my bad this week. So sorry, Gary Payton Jr. And then my ugly. Again, sticking in this series. Again, like I said, this series is heating up. It's some amazing basketball right now. But the ugly would have to go to a one Draymond Green. Yep, you guessed it. Give me your ugly. Show me in the comments. What are you thinking if you had to pick something at this point? Because Draymond, I just think we better watch out. Well, you say why Draymond? I'm sorry, I didn't even say why he's my ugly. He's my ugly for the flip of the bird to the fans. Sorry about that. We obviously see he got fined, but that's my ugly for this week is Draymond's obviously flipping off the fans. You can't do that, Draymond. You got to be better than that. You got to be smarter with that. We get that you're emotional. Emotions are flying. Crowds, they can be disrespectful. They can be rude, but you got to be better than that. And if I'm a Golden State Warriors fan, I actually think you guys may, you better watch out a little bit for Draymond. It's getting high-tempered here. Things are getting feisty. The series is heating up. You got ejection game 1, ejection game 2. People getting elbowed. You got blood. You got stitches. Draymond is very emotional. We better watch out because sometimes he can get a little bit too besides himself. And obviously, we know what happened in 2016 against the Cavs, and for what everybody want to say, oh, he shouldn't have been suspended. But at the end of the day, the suspension actually came from an accumulation of flagrants, of technical fouls. He had reached the max. So if I'm Draymond, you gotta be smarter than that. So you better watch out this series, because he's getting a little. You don't want to start ticking up these flagrant fouls again. Then next thing you know, you may be facing another suspension. But anyway, he's my ugly. You can't be flipping off the bird. We don't like that. You got to be better than that. You got to be more of an example to that. So again, I am April Taylor. It's 30 minutes. So there's my 30 minutes. Thank you for joining me for 30 minutes of just sports talks with April. Feel free to like my page. Feel free to go ahead and comment, like my page, share my page. Yeah, just go ahead and just support me, support yours truly, April Taylor. If you look at the bottom of the screen, follow me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. Follow me, subscribe, go over to YouTube, subscribe to my page. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love everybody, and catch you again on next week for another edition of Sports Talk with April. Thank you.